Greetings exiles, and I continue my journey. I'll start this video with money-making strategies and how I earned currency for my future upgrades. It's a lucky drop, of course. Just kidding. This was my main atlas. The core is the Syndicate. As you all know, I'm a big fan of this mechanic. It gives you medallions and all flames, which are quite expensive. My friend Gravicious is also here. And this guy, who also sometimes sells good items. Overall, the Syndicate isn't too bad. Here are some small numbers to give you an idea of how many safe houses I've run through. The more maps we can run per hour, the more effective this strategy will be. Therefore, we cannot use mechanics that require a lot of time, which is why Boss Rush perfectly complements the Syndicate. First of all, we are looking for this guy on the maps. He is very useful. Valuable loot. We can also find the Black Knight. In 11 out of 10 cases, he is as useless as the developers of Diablo 4. But sometimes he can make us happy. And finally, blue altars. For an extra layer of copium. With this strategy, our main goal is to complete the map in 2 minutes, approximately. Altars help us do this, so I added them to my atlas. Overall, it's a pretty good earning strategy, and I earned most of my currency using this atlas. And finally, these are the scarabs I used. And this is my second atlas. Ritual. The ritual in this league is pretty good, because omens and an audience with the king are expensive. You will also periodically find divine orbs. But unfortunately, the ritual is a big lottery. And if you couldn't find an expensive divination card or synthesized base there, your earnings will be quite modest. Well, my currency stash is full, and that means it's time to go shopping. First, I need new clusters. I need 2 additional jewel slots for Forbidden Flesh and Flame. Master of Metal is a very strong combination for us because we get a lot of added physical damage, which is the best stat for us that helps us scale damage. As an alternative, you can consider Bane of Legends. More damage is always good. And cannot take reflected physical damage is a very nice bonus. Impact is also pretty good. It gives us a lot of AoE and makes this build even more comfortable. It also solves our accuracy problems. And a bit of damage. Enlighten level 3 so I can activate all my auras. And Risletha's Coil. In combination with this support gem, we get a lot of more attack damage. However, our damage range becomes huge, which makes our DPS less stable. But here our mercenary comes to the rescue. We need to buy this amulet for him. Now my damage is lucky. And with my shield, my damage is extra lucky. And a new body armor for my mercenary. I also need a timeless jewel. Glorious Vanity. If you don't know how to find a timeless jewel, buy anyone with a Wana. I managed to buy a good one with 2 useful nodes. But you can skip them, it's no big deal. Immortal Ambition is a very useful keystone for us because it gives us Overleech. And recovery is a big problem for this build. Overleech is also very useful against damage over time, our number 1 enemy. As the cherry on top, these nodes on our clusters are always active. Overall, I think it's a good choice. Jewel with Corrupted Blood immunity. New armor. Very good rolls, and I couldn't resist buying it. But overall, it wasn't necessary. And another premium purchase. Facebreaker with curse enemies with vulnerability on hit. A waste of divine orbs at first glance, especially considering the fact that we can give a cheap ring to our mercenaries and get the same effect. Plus, add mark on hit to our build for big DPS numbers and POB. But with vulnerability on hit, our mapping is smoother, because it's more damage. In addition, this curse gives attack hits against cursed enemies a 25% chance to inflict bleeding, which allows us to activate our explosions more often. And explosions are always good. And the last purchase is Watcher's Eye. This is the perfect option for us because in combination with Master of Metal, it will give us a lot of damage. But the problem is that our mercenary uses Pride, and Watcher's Eye won't work. Unfortunately, I could add Pride instead of Purity of Elements, but then it would be very difficult for us to get resistances. So I bought this one. A more defensive option. Our main damage is still the Mercenary. Well, let's test the new build variant. I've accumulated a lot of invitations, so let's try the boss farming strategy. Thanks to this guy for inspiring me. Overall, it's not bad, but for this strategy, we need a build with 100 million DPS and ZHP so that we can skip the phase and kill the boss instantly. Of course, 30 to 40 seconds is not optimal, but on the other hand, who cares? I don't have a goal to earn hundreds of mirrors. I also decided to buy this unique flask. For more damage. I was lucky here, as always, and I was able to find a lot of forbidden flesh and flame. They should be sold unidentified. You can, of course, use an identification scroll and lose 10 divine orbs in a second. The choice is yours. It's a good strategy, especially if you're lucky. But unfortunately, these invitations are very difficult to buy right now, and their price is very high. And if you buy them, I'm not sure it's profitable, but if you use my Boss Rush Atlas with the Syndicate, it will be a nice extra income for you. Next is another boss farm. Another strategy I wanted to try. I don't know about you, but this boss is just awful. He is constantly yapping. He has many different phases. I don't like him. Loot after 10 runs. Well, what can I say? Disgusting, disgusting luck. If we look at the loot drop table, I was extremely lucky. But this boss is a real pain. Never again in the trade league. Now let's try the big guys. Uber bosses. Overall, our damage isn't bad, and we can kill Ubers. But there are two problems here. The first is that Uber bosses have attacks that cannot be blocked, which means that our main defense doesn't work and you have to dodge. And the second thing is that we have to block recently in order to activate our lucky block. And that's pretty hard to do because there aren't that many attacks and spells, but each one is deadly. But overall, you can kill Uber bosses if you want to because our damage allows us to do so. I also tried the Delirium Breach Atlas. It's quite fun, and our build is ideal for killing large numbers of monsters. But unfortunately, at this stage of the league, it's not the most profitable strategy. And without even noticing, I reached level 100. It turns out it's easy to do if your character rarely dies. Okay, let's move on to the endgame build version. First, I need new rings. Steel ring and essences. In addition to physical damage to attack, we need at least 2 more good modifiers. These can be life, resistance, or accuracy. This is not a bad option. Fracturing orb. We are fine with 3 out of 4 outcomes. Okay. Let's continue using essences. Low roll for life, but everything else is very good. Especially chaos resistance and free prefix. I think I'll stop here. Calandra's Touch. And let's call it a day. Now we have problems with resistances. But I'll just buy this belt and all my problems will be solved. With Mage Blood and Flasks, I get a lot of resistances, speed, armor, critical chance, and shock avoidance. And with this unique jewel, I also get elemental ailments immunity. New Watcher's Eye for big damage. Boots with life and resistances. And Abyssus. A unique helmet that doubles our damage but significantly reduces our survivability. I recommend this purchase only if you are a desperate and risky player. Now we can test the endgame Cyclone. Very good. The damage has become much higher. And any build with Mage Blood becomes much more pleasant and comfortable. And of course, faster. The ship has arrived. Let's see what it brought me. Not bad. Free money. Now I can buy the last item for this build. Cool flask. And back to the maps. The damage against Uber bosses is also pretty good. I also tested 100% Delirium. Perfect content for this build. And Simulacrum. What? 11 divine orbs for unidentified voices. No way. Simulacrum is very profitable right now. No brain farm. But my journey ends here. It was a lot of fun, not gonna lie. Cyclone and Facebreaker are just what I need. Thank you all for watching and commenting. I appreciate it. Also, I would be very grateful for your likes and subscription. Bye everyone, and see you in the new video.